But last but not least, Hades 2.
Yes.
Early access.
Yes.
It's so good. I can't
So
stop
good.
watching people watch it. I mean, play it, and I'm upset because I keep getting kind of spoiled. But I just I'm doing it to myself, and I'm watching. I'm like,
I'm like,
I watch
I'm
it and
like,
I go,
damn, spoilers. But
exactly.
then it's like,
It's like, damn, I wish I would have saw that myself, but I guess it's too late.
yeah,
If I could Men in Black just flash myself right before I play the game, I would.
yeah.
Like I would download the game, boot it up, and like, okay, flash myself. I don't remember anything about this game. I don't even remember the first trailer. Let's just play it. But yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Some of our theories were immediately proven correct in like the first trailer for the early
Right.
access. One being that there are more than three areas. There's way more.
Wow.
There's not just more than three. There's way more than three, and not all of them are there because it's early
Oh.
access. It's crazy. I'm not going to say anything other than there's more than three. And the other one being that you'll be able to romance both of the siblings of Moros and
Oh.
Nemesis.
I
And
see.
this time around, honestly, I'm feeling the guy more than the girl. Whereas I was more of I
Really?
was a Megara simp in the first game. But this time around, I'm feeling Moros. But the character art has grown on me as well as I knew it would. I never thought it was bad.
Right.
I just prefer the art style of the first game, but it's grown on me. I like it. But yeah, it's so good. Everything about it is great. The weapons are cool.
It's fantastic.
Again, I saw a spoiler, but this one was on Twitter. It wasn't me watching somebody play it. Where like the aspects will low key completely change the appearance of the weapons now, and it won't just be
Mm.
like a skin over the weapon that makes it look completely different. I'm
Right.
not going to spoil it, but there's one that I saw for the X that was just made it literally a different weapon. And I think it's still the animations for it are all the same, but it's damn near a completely different weapon. So the aspects are going to be much like they basically took everything about the first game and added layers on top of it. The now granted, I didn't see anybody use that aspect of the weapon, so for all I know, maybe it low key
Right.
also does function completely different.
Right.
Because I'm not joking when I say it went from an axe to a different weapon. it's it's still a big heavy weapon, but it's a completely different type of big heavy weapon.
I see.
And it might still just look different but play the same, but who knows? I haven't seen it. And hopefully I never
Right.
do. Uh, just 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks before I
Two more
move,
weeks.
and then buy it. Unfortunately, the price went back up because it was at a discount. But hopefully, by the time I
Right.
move, the price for the laptop goes back down. And I already
Mm.
found the perfect mouse and keyboard to use with it. Ugh, it's
Nice.
gonna be great.
Nice.
It's gonna be so good. Um, and a mouse pad that's Metal Gear Solid themed. That's gonna be great.
Ooh. Nice.
But yeah, I'm really excited to play this game. Yeah, I saw several people get all the way down to Chronos and fight Chronos.
Hmm.
Um,
I saw that Kronos has a really cool gimmick that
yeah,
I
I
won't
would. Yeah,
spoil, but
I wasn't gonna spoil it if you didn't see it, but since you know, spoiler
I have seen
for
it.
people who haven't, we're gonna have some light spoilers for certain things that we both are aware of. You
Mm.
you can't pause the game when you're fighting Chronos unless you can eventually you unlock something, but for like several runs, once you get to the end, you will not be
Can't
able to
do it.
pause the game, and he will be like, "What are you doing? We're fighting," and unpause the game.
Yep.
It's gonna be like
It.
imagine you got to do something in the middle of the boss fight.
You can still alt tab out and that still works, but that goes
That's
against the
cheating.
spirit of it to me. And it reminds me because there's something similar that happens in Lobotomy Corp in one of the boss fights where it's like you have control over the time and speed of the game completely. So pause, fast forward, slow down. During that boss fight, you can't do any of it. Not, and I'm like, that's such diabolical game design, but I love it. I love making the player like when devs make the player rely on something and then take it away, so
Yeah,
it becomes like a thing of skill. It's like you have to prove yourself.
yeah. Like Loki, they turned it into Dark Souls. You can't pause the game. You pause the game's gonna keep going. You're just gonna have to keep
Yep.
fighting. Uh,
Yep.
yeah, nah. This game it's good. It's so exciting.
Fantastic.
What do you know? I want to hear what you know.
So I know I've actually been surprisingly like light on information. I know I've seen a lot of designs. I know about the Chronos thing. But I haven't really watched much gameplay because I wanted to save it. If I didn't spoil anything for myself in the game, I wanted to keep the gameplay a secret. And also, I have a lot of the words for relating to Hades 2 muted on Twitter.
Yeah, I was thinking of muting it, but I was like, nah.
But not by virtue of like not wanting spoilers. Rather, there is so much goddamn discourse about this game, and I am tired of seeing it.
Wait, what's happening? What I miss?
So, you know, like,
is it about early access or is it just the game? Oh,
no,
is it about
the design?
Oh yeah, I know it is.
Yeah.
It's about
and I'm
not Persephone. Aphrodite.
Aphrodite and Hestia, and like it's just like
and Hephaestus.
Yeah, and it's like everyone was a person of color in the first Hades, and y'all were fine with it. What happened?
The moment they became disabled, and the moment they're disabled and fat, they're like, hey, hold on now.
Hey, you can't. That's not what the Greeks look like, and it's like
you can be black, but you still have to be conventionally attractive.
Attractive, right? And like they're transvestigating Aphrodite, and it's like you can tell these people have never like engaged with Greek mythology beyond like baby's first Edith Hamilton book.
Yeah, one of the people
school.
I'm watching play the game is actually I found his video because in the title it says like Greek mythology expert plays Hades 2, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, and I played it, and he's like has studied Greek mythology in college, and he knows a lot about it, and he's talking about Greek mythology as he plays the game, and that's really fun. And he talks about how like in Greek mythology Hephaestus is meant to be like deformed in some way physically, and I never really knew that. I think always when I see him and stuff like in God of War games, he's like physically deformed in some type of way, but I didn't know that was like an aspect of the character always.
Mm-hmm. He's got a club foot, and that's why all the other gods hate him, because he's not like
Perfect.
them.
Yeah, and same in Blood of Zeus, he doesn't have a club foot, but he is meant to be like not as pretty as all the other gods. He's like slightly more like kind of stocky and like not like very conventionally attractive in Blood of Zeus.
And it's like integral to his whole thing, because that's why Aphrodite treats him the way that she does, i.e. cheating on him with her brother. Like it's a whole thing, and it irritates me specifically because it's like I can tell none of y'all like it. All this discourse that's
they're also
ultimately
arguing
pointless.
about a game that they are not going to play. It's always people who don't play the game who say this stuff.
Right, they're like, oh, now woke has ruined everything. You didn't even play the first Hades.
You don't even care.
Go here.
You're just here to hate.
I think what blows me the most about it is that they're comparing the god design in Hades to like anime, and these anime designs are boring.
Yes.
They're boring.
They're always boring. Always. And of course, because Stellar Blade came out not too long ago, they're talking about that too. And what was it?
Right.
People got mad because some of the costumes. There's a lot of really like well designed costumes in that game. And people got mad that some of them like more clothes was added to them. And people are like, oh,
it's the same people. By the way,
yeah, and people are saying like, oh, they censored it. And then one of the leads on the game came out straight up and said, PlayStation did not censor us. The reason we added more clothes is because we just thought it looked better in terms of fashion. We're not making these designs just to make her sexy. We're making it because we think the clothes look cool. Stop being horny, you weirdos. That's basically what he said. He came out and said, you guys just don't understand fashion. We added more clothes because it looked good, not because we were trying to cover her up because PlayStation told us to. That is not what happened.
It's like, you guys are freaks. Can't.
But yeah, they're just a vocal minority in the grand scheme of things. These are by no means the vast majority of people. Most people are just going to play the game and have fun and enjoy the
be normal about it.
Game for bisexual people. You know, bisexual people been eating good lately. You know,
I know that we listen.
Just been eating good.
So much food.
But
great.
There was a little bit of discourse. It didn't last very long, but about early access, where you know it's kind of weird about whether or not it's good or bad, and the answer is simple. Of course, it's good. There are a few examples of it being bad, but the biggest ones honestly involve the full game just never releasing.
Yeah, and Hades doesn't have that problem.
And on the flip side, you have games like Hades and Baldur's Gate 3, where early access is used to find bugs, get feedback from players to make the final project great. And of course, not all games should go into early access. Like linear story focused games should not be placed in early access because it would ruin the story. Whereas Hades is a story focused game, but it's non linear, so you don't experience the story in a way that would be ruined by playing the early access. And yeah, there's just it also works as a bit of a form of advertising, as a positive word of mouth spreads way before the game officially releases, and it also gives players a bit of a peek behind the curtain to see how games are made and how long it takes, and creating more sympathy and empathy for devs and dev cycles. And last but not least, you can choose whether or not you play a game in early access or not. No one's forcing you.
That's like the peak bit of it for me. It's like you if you don't want to, you don't have to. Also, didn't we have this discourse already when Hades 1 was a
I don't know. I wasn't really paying
why are we
attention to
judging
that
it
stuff
back
when
up?
that came out. I played
That makes sense.
like 2 years after it came out.
Y'all just at this point, like discourse about video games is so asinine to me. Like y'all are just arguing to hear yourselves talk at this point, and
For sure.
it's annoying.
And I've mentioned it before how a lot of AAA games more AAA games, because Baldur's Gate, even though they're an independent studio, the game, in terms of scope and budget, was AAA. More AAA games need to do early access, especially multiplayer AAA games, because what is it? There's the game made by Motive. They're working on Iron Man, and they made the Dead Space remake. They made Anthem, the game about the flying robots, right, or the flying mech suits, right? That game didn't do well, but it had a lot of solid ideas. And if it went into early access, maybe that game would have did really well, and it would be out right now. People would be playing it.